So yeah, Conor McGregor and Jake Gyllenhaal are in the old ATX for the old SXSW this week.
We all know that nobody likes Jake Gyllenhaal, and that's the way it is.
Really?
Yes.
Real talk.
Why? Is that a public thing?
Of course it is.
Or is this a public thing because you say it's a public thing?
I mean, just Google it, right?
Does anyone like Jake Gyllenhaal? Answer no.
But
Do
Bubble
people
Boy.
like Jake?
Bubble Boy is a fucking wild movie.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
What else was he in? Well, I mean, Donnie Darko was like the big thing that broke him out. Like when I was in college. Was that aging myself?
No.
Let's see. Jake Gyllenhaal. He was okay in the Spider-Man movie.
As Mysterio?
Sure.
As Mysterio?
Mm-hmm. Well,
He was creepy as
Did you guys see that movie Nightcrawler that he was in?
That's
No.
exactly what I was about to say. He was creepy as fuck in that movie.
Big
Nightcrawler?
Good movie.
Fan, though.
Yeah.
Brokeback Mountain.
You know, him and Brokeback. Yep.
Yeah. He was
That's
in
what he's
that.
known for.
He was in
Nightcrawler,
that.
Donnie Darko, Brokeback Mountain, and Prisoners.
Prisoners.
Okay.
I don't think I ever saw
Roadhouse. Currently got a
Prisoners.
6.7 rating on IMDb.
I'm looking forward to Roadhouse.
Yeah. I am too.
I like a fun
Isn't it
movie.
already on Prime?
No, the 21st.
The 21st. Thank you so much. Go see Roadhouse. This week's episode of the Pretty Neat Podcast is not brought to you by Roadhouse, but you should go see it.
It's time for the Pretty Neat Podcast. It's time for the Pretty Neat Podcast.
I'm on one today. I don't know what else to say. If you go to theprettyneatpodcast.com and hit the mailbag, after you, of course, subscribe and follow, join the 420-ish of you that follow us on Spotify, then you send us something in the mailbag, I'll send you a Conor McGregor card amongst a handful of other cards. Nice little giveaway for some fans. Hit us up. I'll send you some stuff.
What an offer. What an offer. How could people not take you up on that offer, Aaron?
I don't
think
know,
I
Ryan.
might take you up on it.
Dominic, I hope you do.
I'm gonna bang that.
Can I
line before
subscribe
anybody else
again
gets a chance
to this podcast to
That's
get
right.
a Conor McGregor card?
Sure. I'll send you one anyway if you want one. Dom, you remember when we tried Proper 12?
Yes, kind of. Well, sort of. No, it's
It
good.
wasn't bad. No, it was okay. It was okay. Yeah. How else was y'all's week?
So my sister had a baby shower the night of UFC 299, so I didn't really watch the prelims. So that was fun, I guess. There was a taco guy there, which was great. Came back to my parents' house the following day and took home, legitimately, no exaggeration, 2 pounds of meat. Guess what I ate for 3
2
days
pounds of
straight?
Meat.
Yeah, meat, salsa, beans. Yeah,
Sounds like my
tacos,
last
quesadillas,
80-some days.
burritos.
Save for the the beans.
Ooh.
Meat.
We had, at work, because of South by, there was a lot of catering. So every day was something different. There was a taco bar one day. There was a nice Chinese food spread one day. There was barbecue one day. And oh my gosh, because we had so many guests on the other podcast, right? And most of them came from out of state, so everybody had to crack a I've got the meat sweats being here joke. And what else are you gonna do when you're here? It's reasonable, but I had to hear it so many times.
I don't want to hear that ever again.
Fair enough. How about you, Dom?
If anyone ever says "May the 4th be with you" to me again, I'm going to fucking kill someone. Please understand. It is on site. It is on site if you say that.
On site.
Is it going to be revenge?
187 up in this.
And I'm going to tell you why. There's a series of things that people say that were not even clever when they were new and are not clever now, and I don't want to hear them ever again.
Oh boy.
And that's one of them. It's like,
that's
I'm sorry, but
May
if
the
your
4th?
65-year-old mom is like, oh, hey, May the 4th be with you. And she's like, oh, like hashtag. It's like that. Like, no, absolutely not. I don't ever want to hear it.
He's like,
again.
guess what? I'm about to kill your mom.
I strangled to death with my own hands. Okay. And I'm serious about this.
If I should ever pass on the 4th of May, I want that to be my epitaph just so Dom can kill me again.
I may have to.
Come back, you son of a bitch, so I can kill you.
And you know what? You deserve it.
I would for that level of rudeness. Dom, isn't some celebration in order for you? Didn't you complete something?
No, I don't want to talk about it. Oh wait, which part? The 75
Didn't
hard?
you finish? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
You were so hard that you finished.
I did. Yes, 75 hard is complete. I am adjusting to a post 75 hard life, and I am going to tell you this. I see the appeal of just living your life that way. I'm not going to lie. I see the appeal of just living your life that way always.
Nice.
Now, I'm not going to do it for a handful of
reasons.
reasons.
Yeah, I was going to say, with that being said, have you adapted to that lifestyle?
I can see why people do. There have been 2 instances since Friday where I was in front of my favorite thing on earth and really didn't want it.
Pizza?
And that's a strange sort of cycle of emotions I was dealing with. And I don't know what my new normal is, but I do know that it contains way less just empty carbs like it used to. I'll tell you that much right now. Managed on Sunday, as I shared with you guys, but for the most part, I just don't care. There was a stack of pizzas in the office yesterday, maybe, or today. I don't know. The days bleed together. Maybe it was Monday. And I was just like, yeah, no thanks. Precious few calories to spend, and I'm not eating that Papa John's or whatever that is. And they're like, well, if you change your mind and everybody else is
it just being Papa John's
is
enough.
Die a slow, empty carb, unhealthy saturated fat death. All you cows. I'm not doing it. No, you see how quickly I changed? 2.5 months, and I'm just a completely different person. But no, it's good. It's good. I have still trained every single day, and Saturday, Monday, Wednesday were 2-a-days. So today's Wednesday, and I worked out twice today. So
amen.
A good chunk of that's going to continue, and I like it. Ryan, what day is it for you? 73?
Yeah.
Let's see. Today is day 72. I am complete with 72. I have 3 days left, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and I will be concluding my hard challenge. At the end of Saturday. So Sunday would be the first day outside of the 75 hard challenge. However, you and I were kind of texting back and forth. I'm going to go immediately into phase 1.
You're doing it.
Another 30. I'm doing it. Yeah. I told you I was like 75%. And I told my wife, because this upcoming Tuesday we're going to Disneyland and we have a reservation at Trader Sam's, which is the tiki bar restaurant in the Disneyland Hotel. It's amazing. They have fantastic drinks, and my father-in-law, the Immortal Cliff, was like, hey, so you get to drink on St. Patrick's Day. And I was like, I don't know if I want to. So there's that, which is Sunday, FYI. And
not a real holiday, so I don't care.
Yeah, exactly. So I think I'm just going to extend it. And I don't know. I'm actually, when I think about drinking, I'm like, I don't want to do it. Right.
Okay. What about the eating part?
I've been pretty good. When I say pretty good, I've been good. So it's normalized for me now.
Yeah.
On how I eat and what I eat, and the no beer. I've stayed 100% away from sweets. Previously, one point in time, I had quit drinking for 7 months, and I developed like the biggest sweet tooth, and I could not stay away from chocolate.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I've been good, and then abstaining from all of that. So the thing that scares me the most about phase 1 is cold showers. Honestly, everything else I can deal with. It's cold showers, a 5-minute cold shower on a daily basis. I just probably have to embrace it, embrace the suck, as they say. But I haven't done it, and the thought of doing it gives me the shivers.
Have you ever done a cold plunge?
No, I've never done a cold plunge.
Okay,
we've talked about it. I know you bought that freezer.
I did. I'm still waiting on my carbon liner. So it's the first 40 seconds that are the worst.
Okay.
It's okay. After that, it's okay. And I did 3.5. And I could have done 5, no problem. So I'm thinking I might start working that in, actually. I was listening to / reading something on heat and cold exposure and what they do to like the platelets in your blood and how good it is for you. And I know so like Michael Chandler will turn on his sauna and then put his like Echo bike right in front of it and just go nuts. And I know, is it Laird Hamilton? He'll get into his sauna on the Echo bike at like 220 and just, that's a different breed of person for sure. But I think the heat cold exposure, I think you're going to grow to like it, and maybe even crave it. And I will start doing it with you, and I do mean in the same shower. So let me know when it's time.
Cool.
And I'll be there. It's just a couple guys in some cold water. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, technically it can be a 2-person shower, so that's fair game. It's fair game.
Wasn't it Brigma that figured out that you're supposed to do hot and cold?
I don't know what Brigma is.
The trick is hot ice. You heat up the ice cubes.
Heat up the ice cubes, yeah. And you know what? When I've got the cold plunge running, it's got your name all over it. You're gonna come get in it. We're gonna do it together.
Ooh,
heck yeah.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah, I wanted to run this by you as we get into the segment of the show that we call the recap.
Oh yeah.
This happened over the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Any initial thoughts? I mean, did this expose Tyson Fury like you said, Ryan? Or was that
it wasn't me, but I mean that's the first thing that came to my mind was so
Ryan, real quick, can you drop your input volume really quick?
Yeah, you're popping a little bit.
While he does that, the third knockdown, and the referee, this is irresponsible by this referee. Francis was out He's out right there. He doesn't know where he is. And then the way he comes forward, this straight right that AJ hits him with is just, it's just
Brutal.
loony. It's just duck your head, bam, it's over. We're all done.
Yeah.
We're done here. I've seen enough.
Yep.
I don't know if I said it. I think it exposed the fact that Tyson Fury did not prepare for that fight. That's what I think it exposed. So that's what Tyson Fury really should have done to him.
Well, wasn't Tyson Fury like really out of shape for that fight as well, which is more just supporting evidence?
Yeah, absolutely. So it doesn't look good for Tyson Fury, but it doesn't. I don't think it says that much. I really don't. I think it. Maybe it has like. You know, like if you flip a coin, 10,000 times, you could get a run of like 15 or 25 or maybe even 75 where it comes up tails every single time. You could conceivably, and you might have to flip it 10,000 times, 500 times, but you could get a run like that. You know, you see craps rolls where they'll go 65 rolls, 70 rolls, right? We've all seen that sort of thing.
Dude, my wife got 27.
I think that was what was happening with this UFC or MMA rather, boxing crossover stuff, where MMA guys were looking, it was just looking way more competitive than it should be, because that's really what should happen. And I don't necessarily agree with these people who say, oh, that's what would happen if they had done an MMA fight just reversed. I just don't know that. I just don't know that that's the case. I suppose Francis could take him down and hold him down, but maybe Anthony Joshua's fucking huge, man. He's fucking huge. So
yeah,
and he's, I don't know. I just want the crossover thing to be done with. It's like I was talking to my brother about this at the Laker game on Sunday. If LeBron James, you could put him on Philadelphia or the Rams or the Mike Williams-less Chargers with Jim Harbaugh and Justin Herbert, and you could give him pads and you could show him the playbook and you could have him memorize 5 routes, and you know what? He could run the routes and he could make an acrobatic catch. But if you have him play an entire NFL season, his deficiencies, because he spent his entire life playing basketball, would eventually be exposed. And that's I think what happened here. We finally saw a boxer do what a boxer should do. This is why Jake Paul has not fought a real boxer, like a real boxer.
Are we even going to talk about that upcoming
No, I don't
fight?
want to talk about it.
No.
Because it's a joke. And I
Cool.
I really just think we've like righted the ship, so to speak, and now we don't have to do it anymore. Who wants to see you want to see the same thing happen if Ngannou gets in there with fucking Deontay Wilder? No. Because that's what would happen. So, no thanks.
What do you think about the boxing match announced between Nate Diaz and Jorge Masvidal? Not quite a crossover, obviously. They're both primarily MMA fighters.
I have less of an issue with that, I guess.
Yeah.
It's not bare knuckle, is it?
No.
No.
I feel like I know exactly how the fight's going to go. And then that's it.
Yeah. I think they'll tangle each other up a little bit. I think Jorge will gas faster than Nate. And
have they said how many rounds it is?
I don't think so, but I think Nate will pick up steam towards the end of the fight and then lose the decision to Jorge. But I could also see, Nate, when he really is on it, you saw what he did to Leon Edwards at the end of their fight. In the last fucking minute, he just found the chin and couldn't get away from it. So I could see that happening too, but I don't see Jorge finishing that.
It's scheduled to go 10 rounds, FYI. 10 rounds at 175 pounds.
It's a long fight.
That's fun. And that's going to be in July? Did they announce it?
June 1st.
Oh.
June 1st.
Oh,
so coming up relatively soon.
Cool. Nice. Well, then we should talk a little bit about what happened this past weekend, which was O'Malley Vera 2. It was a fun card.
A really fun card. And you know
It
what?
was a
My
really fun
apologies,
card.
and we'll get to it. 300 is
What?
a lot better than anyone thinks. But
It
we'll get
is.
there. Because they announced
Yeah.
it during 299, right? So that's why I'm saying
Yeah,
that. But
they
let's
announced
talk about
the last fight and the main card lineup.
Yep.
the
A lot of people
prelims
are
are
pissed, but we'll
wild.
get to it.
Well, they can shove it.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the fights that just happened before we dive into future fights.
Yeah.
I mean, Joanne Wood won. Beautiful spinning back fist at the end of the second or last round. She won by unanimous decision and then retired. Good for her. I mean, what jumped out at you? I mean, well, we have to talk about Rebella
Robellis Despain, who, yeah, you guys
Yeah.
go.
Despagne?
Despagny?
Despagne?
Robelis Despagny. Yeah, well, we knew that this was going to end exactly how this ended. We definitely called this one, of course,
Yeah.
because Josh Parisian doesn't even understand what country he's from. And
Completely inexcusable, by the way. Carry on.
rebellious. I mean, he's got the longest reach in UFC history. It's longer than John Jones. He's 6'7", isn't he? 6'7".
Yeah, he's 6'7".
Giant.
Fucking massive. What do you think?
I don't know what to think. The fight didn't last very long to be able to give an accurate assessment, but that was only his 5th professional bout. So there's like clearly, here's American Josh Parisian. You know, do what you will, right? And after that, they'll probably give him another can. Honestly, probably maybe put him in a featured prelim bout.
Yeah.
And then at some point, give him somebody. Give him somebody who would be a good heavyweight test. Not
That's
great,
a good question.
Not great, but somebody that's not American Josh Parisian.
Sergey Spivak.
Okay, Spivak's not a bad call. Like
Chris
Spivak's going
Daukaus.
to try and Chris Daukaus, if he's still fighting, he can knock out Daukaus for sure.
No, they got cut. They cut both of them.
Yeah, the Daukaus brothers, they got to go back to the regional circuit.
Yeah.
Spivak, I like, because Spivak's a wrestler, but it doesn't mean that he would necessarily get him to the ground. And we saw it with the Blades Almeida fight. What heavyweight power can do, regardless of position. Give him Derek Lewis.
Yeah, Derek Lewis would be interesting. I also like the Marcos Rogerio de Lima, down at 14. Except he's really short. But I'm into seeing how he handles somebody who's short and stocky and powerful like that. I think that would be fun.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
But you're still right though. He needs another can. I think they got to give him another can first.
Give him a can. Let him squash it.
I was very
Despondé
impressed.
Parisian 2.
Yeah,
We're running this fight back. We didn't see enough.
that's a good segue though. Running back is what impressed me about Rebellis, is that he was moving backwards and he was totally off balance throwing that punch.
That's a heavyweight thing for sure.
Yeah, you can do that. It reminded me of when Stipe knocked out Verdum when he won the belt. Michelle Pajeda won by
Slightly higher
submission.
degree of difficulty there, though.
Yes, yeah. And his reach certainly helped. Michelle Pajeda, good job. Submission, fabulous. Ion Kudalaba, Felipe Lenz. I mean, it was honestly one of the more boring fights.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is kind of surprising with Ion Kudalaba. I think he was hurt by the calf kicks pretty early. Kyler Phillips cheated and beat Pedro Munoz, so that's cool.
What do you mean by he cheated?
3 eye pokes and he missed weight.
Dang. Okay.
Yeah. So, fuck that.
So Pedro Munoz got eye poked 3 times by Kyler Phillips and
Ryan, drop
continued
that
to
volume one
fight.
more time. I'm sorry.
Yeah. What?
I was gonna have him drop the volume one more time.
Oh, Ryan? Is he still popping?
Yeah.
Pop. So Kyler Phillips eye
There you
poked
go.
Pedro 3 times, but there was only, what was it, 1 eye poke against Sugar, and he couldn't continue.
Yeah.
So you
Actually,
mean to tell me
about that fight?
You mean to tell me that you really couldn't continue?
Yeah.
No.
You're opening the
I
sanctum
can't
doors.
see.
There we go. Kyler Phillips. I mean, he's really kind of not as much of a prospect as I thought he was in the past. That's just my opinion. Like, still very good.
He's going to be ranked. He's going to be ranked now for sure.
Yeah.
He'll take Pedro's spot.
Up? Yeah. Bantamweight. Oh yeah, they moved him up to 12th.
Oh wow.
There you go. Meh. Still, I stand by not being as impressed.
Yeah.
Let's see. Why is it white? Go back. Hey, it still went to Gamrot, though, which was the next fight. Mateusz Gamrot beat Rafael dos Anjos. We all kind of called that.
Takedown
11 takedowns. Bruh.
Bro.
We'll pick over on takedowns whenever Mateusz is fighting.
That's a lot of takedowns. I feel like we got burned on him taking takedowns, though. So
yeah. What'd you think of Macy Barber and Katie Chooks?
It went exactly how Max Griffin said it was going to go.
Yep.
Like,
it did.
Basically, I mean.
Yeah.
Macy's good.
Macy's good.
Macy's good. Yeah, we got to say, though, that the Max Griffin 3-leg parlay did not go as planned.
No, and you know what else didn't go? Any of the picks we had.
Yeah.
Well, I did hit a 6 for 6 on Prize Picks.
I mean,
I hit
show.
I hit a 5 for 6 on Prize Picks too.
I hit technically a 5 for 5, but one of them was free on NBA the next day, so I was okay. But
nice.
Yeah.
So, Macy Barber, mean, just like Max said, that's for sure. She definitely had the dog in the fight.
Mm-hmm.
And she never misses her squats. So, let's move into... I'm just saying.
You said.
Listen.
Yeah.
Listen, there is, in any sport, there is real benefit to being strong through the legs and ass. It's just the way it is, okay? It's just the way it is.
You know who else doesn't miss their squats? Curtis Blades.
Nope.
He's got it. And okay. I think everybody picked Jailton Almeida except for Curtis Blades. Curtis Blades didn't. I appreciated his comment in the post-fight interview where he just said, I noticed that he was going to the side the whole time, so I knew that if I pushed my stomach down on the back of his head that I would be able to get those hammer fists, and that's what I did, and it worked.
Is Curtis Blades like the most underrated guy on the roster at this point?
I think his problem is that he puts himself in the position to have like this breakthrough, and then he shits the bed.
Or
right?
has a fight get canceled, right? Like, just weird stuff seems to happen to him.
And he was the one who got knocked out viciously by Derek Lewis.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things, like, he beats Derek Lewis. Who knows what's happening after that in terms of potential challenging for the belt? And he just gets uppercutted, to sleep.
Does this
that's
completely...
that's an interesting way to look at it.
I think he lacks charisma in general.
He does.
He's he's a very transparent guy, which makes me like him. I think he's a very smart fighter. but they desperately do not want him to be the champion. I like his call out of Tom Aspinall. I think that was the perfect call, because Tom Aspinall's loss on his record is when he got injured 15 seconds into the fight against Curtis Blades.
That's I mean, you can't hold
when
that
he just
against Tom
stepped
Aspinall.
back on it wrong and fell over. Remember,
what's
not
Curtis
even a
Blades
kick.
gonna do? Like, oh shit, the guy just tore up his knee. What do I do?
So, what is the UFC hates Curtis Blades? What is behind all of that?
I just think it's the lack of charisma. Like,
Okay.
he wouldn't make a good champion. You know? That's it. Like, and everybody knows he's a wrestler and a grappler at his roots, and which is boring.
So what makes a good champion then?
You know, your John Joneses, who's going to spice things up in the octagon, and so he's going to be good on the mic.
Is fine.
Tom Aspinall, similar.
No, Tom Aspinall is not a champion. Don't say that.
He's interim champion now.
That's not a real thing.
And we're not talking about what makes it. We're talking about the components of a champion.
I just think a good fighter makes a good champion. I don't know. I understand. I totally do understand what you're saying. I don't think Islam Makhachev then, by that logic, makes that good of a champion. How's that?
In some sense, yeah. I think you're right. I think that's fair. Like, I think Sean O'Malley is a great champion for the UFC.
Yeah.
Because even though his charisma is so orchestrated, like it doesn't feel genuine, which may come back to bite him. Might turn him into like a villain type.
A heel.
Yeah. But that's whatever. But hey,
we're going to talk in depth
about
him for sure.
For now.
Does that
he's young.
Totally crush Jailton Almeida
he's gonna have to take a
as
step
a
back.
contender? I don't think so.
But I mean, heavyweights lose. It's not really. Yeah. That's the one weight class where it's like, well.
Yeah, unless you're John Jones.
Right.
Heavyweights lose. Whoa, it's all faded. Why is it all faded? I'll refresh.
Song Yadong, while you're working on that, and Petr Yan. Too much rhyming there. I think we can all agree to that. But
what is this? Why? Why is this faded?
The bantamweight division is such a clusterfuck.
Yes.
Right. Why don't you just refresh the page?
I did.
Oh.
Now it works. There we go.
Because what do you do with either of these guys? Song doesn't lose much stock here, and Petr Yan doesn't really gain that much stock.
I think Song's fine because he's still 26.
That's really fair.
Right? A lot of time to develop. You could have him fight. Yeah, exactly. For Petr Yan, like
there's no shame in losing.
Why do they have Aljamain in the bantamweight rankings? He's not a bantamweight anymore. He was number 5.
And why is Marlon 5th?
Yes, he is.
And he's still 5th. Champ to 10 didn't change. Excuse me? Like, who looked better on Saturday? Marlon Vera or Song Yadong?
Yeah, I can see what you're saying.
Rankings are so arbitrary. Like it's rankings are just like here's a number.
I mean,
yeah.
Rankings, they really are. They really are.
We will go crazy. Yeah, we're gonna go crazy if we try and figure that shit out. But I don't know, Dom. I don't know what you do with either of these guys.
I think he said he wanted to go on a revenge tour, but he beat Sanhagen.
Petr Yan and Sanhagen.
So that doesn't make sense.
Okay. I mean,
he's already beaten Sanhagen. Right. So that just leaves O'Malley.
And Aljamain's not in the weight class anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, he would have to. He has to avenge a loss against Merab, right?
Higher.
They talk a lot about him biting on every single feint
at this point.
because having PTSD from Merab just ragdolling him for 5 rounds. No. Good, yeah.
Well, that ain't gonna happen, and it would just happen again, in my opinion. I think. Speaking of Well, I was gonna say the only way he's gonna cancel that out is if he starts throwing some crazy brutal knees against Merab on the takedown. And speaking of crazy brutal knees, poor Gilbert Burns. He took that knee, and then Jack Della Maddalena finished it on the ground.
You know, it's
And
interesting.
Pretty much, if Jack
that,
Della gets you
the
on the
stoppage
ground,
was
you're gonna lose.
fairly late in the third round. When that as well, but I meant like later in terms of round 3, and not as like the delay in the stoppage, which is a completely valid point. The official scorecards, 2 of the 3 judges had Gilbert up 2 rounds. So like if Jack doesn't stop the fight, Gilbert wins, and then we're talking about Gilbert against who, right? Welterweight, because welterweight's also one of those divisions that's totally fucked with the logjam of fighters. And now Jack against Shavkat. Are they really going to do that?
Okay.
Well, Bilal has to get the next title shot.
Well, they hate Bilal Muhammad, so someone's got to. And Leon Edwards. So they offered Islam Makhachev Leon Edwards, right? That's what everyone is saying. One of the two of them did.
He has to fight
during
Bilal.
Ramadan, I guess. So what do you really do with Leon? Now?
I think it's going to happen. I don't think they've announced it yet. I think they're going to announce it for an event when they go back to the UK. That makes the most sense to me. No, it doesn't. But that one's in Brazil.
Yeah. Does like 301 have a headliner? No, it doesn't. That's in Brazil. Yeah. What about
that'll probably be Pantoja.
There is no 302 even on the calendar yet. That's weird.
Which one is there going to be a numbered card during International Fight Week? I mean, it'll probably be Conor McGregor and Chandler.
Yeah, it's some inside information.
Which I don't think is going to happen anymore, by the way.
No, I don't think so either.
No, I think no inside information. I just think they know they will sell more tickets if they do.
They're
Conor
talking
McGregor,
about Poirier fighting Makhachev now.
Oh, I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
A shitload more.
I think it's Conor and Nate.
Really?
Well, that's pointless.
Huh.
I think the fight is Conor and Nate Diaz. That's what I think.
That's a pretty big money fight too. I like that Jack Della called out Shavkat for the 3rd time, and I really hope that they give him that fight.
I promise you.
I don't think so either. I just think they've been on different trajectories, and they're both undefeated still. Like I do think that would be good, and I think it should be. There's a fight in Perth. It's in the next few months, and that's where Jack Della's from. So I think that they should give him a fight in Perth. Have him fight Shavkat.
I don't see one in Perth on their calendar, but doesn't mean it's not.
Yeah. But I think that'd be fun. Anyway, what do you do with Gilbert Burns now? I feel like he just has to recover. Which, by the way, he did say that he told the ref to let him go as long as he possibly could.
Yeah, that's not his choice.
Happens.
And that's great, but the referee should not listen to him. Or any fighter.
Enough.
That's so dumb. Let him pummel my head while I lay here unconscious. What the fuck is that? That's so stupid.
But I might wake up. Okay, cool. Then we had Kevin Holland and Michael Venom Page.
So my favorite moment of the card, and I texted you guys, happened during this fight.
What was it?
I love hearing any pro athlete when they're honest. And Kevin Holland, after round 1, walked to his corner and he goes, well, he's faster than we thought. And he said it in a way that was like, our whole game plan is fucked. I love shit like that. I love when you get like a mic'd up player in the dugout in baseball, and like when Clayton Kershaw was just mowing guys down, they're like, yeah, well, I don't really know what you do with that. I think there's something, it like humanizes these guys a little bit, and that he almost had a sense of humor about it too. Was kind of like, well, Turns out he actually does do those things, and now I don't know what to do. And then he proceeded to spend the next 10 minutes not knowing what to do.
I thought my stream was glitching. Like, he was bouncing so fast.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I legit thought that something was up with my stream, and it had caught up on some buffering. It was, and damn, like he looked like how he looks in Bellator. He looked good. He looked good. Ryan, do you agree with the MMA community's sentiment that they have to do Wonder Boy versus Venom now?
Sure, but the other side of that coin, when you have two karate point fighters, is what if they just don't strike each other? What if they just don't strike each other and they just circle each other
point
and barely engage?
Dude, that's what Venom said.
Would be a fucking travesty. And I'm afraid of that.
Mm-hmm.
So what Michael Venom Page needs is somebody to bring the fight to him, which is why I thought the fight against Kevin Holland would be so good. It ended up not having a ton of strikes when you look at the stats. I don't think Michael Venom Page got above 45 significant strikes. And I was thinking this would be a huge action-packed affair, and it just wasn't.
Nope, he didn't.
41.
But all... What'd you say, 41?
Mm-hmm.
All 41 of them were legitimately significant.
Yeah. Well,
those
now he's 13th.
Those like U-shaped spinning back elbow things that he does from like underneath. I mean, the way he stands sideways and he's so far away from his opponent. It's such a crazy
Let's have him,
like
let's
it's one of those
fight
things
Ian
you would never teach someone to do it that way. I couldn't imagine, but
do you have?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think
that's
you
what
could
a lot
have
of people
this,
are saying?
Do you think you could have the same problem as with Wonder Boy though, where like they just don't engage?
No, because Ian Gary will engage. And
Sean Brady would try and take him down.
I think that's a really tough.
It would be like the prospect of
I like Sean Brady
MVP catching him coming in
that one.
So why didn't Kevin Holland take him down? He almost rear naked.
He tried. He tried. He definitely tried, but I think that
could be that
he underestimated Venom's grappling as well.
Yeah, Luke is poised for a fight too, because
I think Luque would be good. Luque would not back down from a fight.
Gary, right? Ian Gary? They were supposed to fight, and then that fight broke, and then they rebooked Gary with Jeff Neal.
Yeah, that
was at Anaheim. Yeah, they could do that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Fun. I think Venom is fun. At least we'll have him for probably 2-3 years of real excitement. For his age, like he's 37 now. 37 or is he 35? He might be 35. He's 36. So like with the speed he has at 36, he could he'll be around for a minute.
Fun fight.
I like it. Anyway, fun fight. Kevin Holland, keep doing what you do too, because you're fun to watch still. And you say good stuff in the corner. Then, Dustin Poirier. Wow. Just wow. What's really funny is the MMA community, before this fight, was talking about pictures of Benoit Saint-Denis and how he clearly had staph. He had staph on his forehead.
Interesting.
And then which he denied. And then after the fight and after the loss, he said, "Yeah, so I had an infection and I basically had one round and then I was going to be done." And then the MMA community said, "Bullshit. You're making excuses. You didn't have staph." But I do think he did. I do think he had staph. I think that but I don't think
that's how he fights.
Gassed.
So his fighting style didn't change.
What he does. And
we all thought if
ready.
Poirier had a chance, it would be in a later round. He just did it far sooner than we thought.
He almost beat him.
Yeah. Yeah. Were you listening to the commentary while you were watching it as well? There was also a lot of flack being thrown Joe Rogan's way about saying how tired Poirier was and how he was gassed early.
He was.
And even Poirier came out afterwards and was like that. He's like, that's bullshit. Like, I trained 5 rounds all the time. Yeah, it was hard. Yeah, I was in tough positions, but I didn't lose, and I came back and I knocked him out.
Well, but both things can be true.
I want to give a shout out to
I think that's true, but
Dustin
I don't think
for
his tank was
jumping
that
guillotine.
I
That
truly don't.
ends up getting credited
No.
for takedowns, which was a very important factor in BSD going above his over under of 2.5 takedowns in that fight. Yeah.
Oh wow, I loved his corner. I love Mike Brown in there. Don't fucking jump guillotine, and he does it like within 30 seconds of the next fucking round.
Well, the funniest thing was that John Anik in the commentary was like, "Yeah, Dustin Poirier has 7 wins by submission, none of them by guillotine."
Do what you do, Diamond. It's awesome.
He's
Have you
good.
seen his tattoo? He has a King of Diamonds tattooed under his ear. That's pretty dope. I like it. I like it. Then main event.
The people who had the
what can
over
you
under
say?
on significant strikes couldn't have
Beautiful
been
by
more wrong.
Sean.
The line was 112.5, and he landed 230. No. At the people who were making the line.
He landed.
Was that a shot at
The people making the line. Like the line was 112.
No.
And he landed 230.
No.
Oh, yeah. Except that
Cheetah?
somehow he survived that vicious knee, which really should have put him out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I would actually argue somewhere between the middle of the third round.
I don't
and the
dispute
start of
that,
the
but I
fifth,
also think that
his corner should have
Sean hit over that line within 3 rounds.
Within 2 rounds, it felt like. I mean,
interesting factoid or happenstance. 232 strikes is exactly the same number of strikes he landed on Chris Moutinho.
So, you know what? The fight was really giving me Chris Moutinho flashbacks.
It had that.
Because
it had this vibe.
Cheeto spent the first 3 rounds just standing there getting hit. And then what would happen is he would like try to do something and the crowd would react and the commentators would be like, "Oh, that's what you need to see more of." It's like, no, Sean O'Malley's hitting a human punching bag and he's not ready. He's not sure when it's going to swing back.
Yes.
Yeah.
I did.
I thought it was interesting. Did you guys watch Embedded?
I did not this time.
Okay, and it was pretty good. It was a little slow, but pretty good. There was a point where Sean went and did a press conference before the official one, and he said they asked him what his prediction was or something, and then he said, "Have you guys had Cheeto up here yet?" And they said no. He said, "Ask him. Ask him what we've been DMing about. He knows what's going to happen." And then Daniel Cormier, or no, Chael Sonnen, one of them said something like, both of these guys know how I think it was Chael Sonnen. He was saying, "I don't know what's going to happen. I know what I think is going to happen, but I don't know what's going to happen." But both of them do. And it was interesting to hear kind of 2 different people say it like that. And it, I understand people like friend of the show, Cheeto Vera. He is, as a fighter, he is not even remotely on Sean O'Malley's level. And frankly, he never was. I understand he beat him. But the bigger blemish, and we talked about this earlier, on O'Malley's record is really the Pedro Munoz no contest. To me, the weird nerve leading to a broken foot, that's like, yeah, you know what? That could happen against anybody. That wasn't because Marlon is better. I understand he was probably winning that round before that, but it's still a long way to go. I maybe slightly underestimated Marlon's ability to not get finished, but the simple fact is he was not competitive. He landed that body shot at the end. I would argue Sean should not have even been close to him in the last minute. But I think he genuinely wanted to finish him, and I think he knows he made a mistake. Yeah. What?
It went exactly how we thought. We all picked. I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure we
yeah.
all picked Sean O'Malley by decision.
And you both, no, I had him by knockout. I thought he was going to finish him, but you both had the strikes and the over-under on time. So you guys
Yeah.
called it. And I didn't 100% disagree. I just thought he was going to finish him. And again, that knee,
No.
the way Cheeto's right cheek was swollen, he might have fractured an orbital. I don't know. And then,
Yeah.
at the point, when they should have thrown in the towel or the referee should have stopped it, was when Sean would step forward and Marlon would immediately shell up and back up. That's like, okay,
Yeah.
he can't see. This isn't, what are you're going to sit there and just wail on this fucking guy in front of his wife and kids? Like, why? You've won. It's over. I don't blame Sean for not, what's he going to do? Stop? Like, I get that, but I was not impressed by Marlon Vera. And I this idea that it's somehow noble or he has the heart of a lion or he's a warrior to stand there and get hit for 25 minutes. I don't know. I'm not interested in that.
Yeah, they started saying, man, Marlon Vera is tough during the first round. That should have given you the the old wink of how the rest of the fight's going to go. Once they start saying, look how tough Marlon Vera is.
Not that I didn't have a healthy
Ryan,
amount
what'd
of
you think?
respect for Sean O'Malley, but, just the performance that he did for the duration of the 5 rounds and the variety of strikes and the techniques and just everything was landing. Part of that may be the style of Cheeto as well that enhanced that, but I have a lot more respect for Sean O'Malley, and I'm curious what he's going to do next. Right, I definitely think that Merab's the next fight, even though he called out Ilya after the fights. I believe Ilya basically went onto social media and said, you have to fight Merab first, and then we can talk. So
that's funny because Ilya doesn't get to call shots like that because he's been champ for 15 minutes. It's not like Sean called out Alexander Volkanovski.
Yeah, but it's also
Ilya
weight
doesn't have a
classes as
fucking
well.
defense.
And there's
Sean
that
does.
Georgian tie between Ilya and Merab that I think is playing a factor in how he responds to those things. Otherwise, I was going to say, otherwise, I don't know what his response would be. Sure, I think that's heavily influencing it.
And Ilya and Sean, they just have beef. Like they threw food at each other or some shit at a hotel.
Yeah. I think there's a healthy amount of fighters who maybe don't love Sean O'Malley the way they didn't love Conor. And he is inching toward that like starting to get a little bigger than the logo territory. And I think the UFC is going to be careful with that. I don't think he's going to get to Poirier. And it's funny, I'm looking at it right now. If you look at the UFC's rankings page, it has all the pictures of all the champs. There is one of them that stands out, right? It's like, who's the guy with the fucking cotton candy hair?
Yep.
That to me is, everybody else looks like they came off a conveyor belt just from a different part of the world, right? Which is fine. But I think that's a tougher fight for Ilya than people think.
Yeah.
Ilya,
I think that is.
He's been on a nice run. He beat Volkanovski, but it wasn't the Volkanovski.
Yeah.
Ilya, though, how tall is he?
Ilya puts people away in the way that somebody has to put Sean away. In that the only time Sean was ever at risk, and that is minimal risk against Cheeto, was when Cheeto was blitzing and right up in his face.
Sean is actually taller than Ilya by 4 inches.
Yeah. He'll have the reach. He'll have everything. And
he has a 3-inch arm reach and a 3-inch leg reach advantage.
Yeah. It would be a really hard fight for Ilya if he can't close the distance. So, and I actually think Merab is a really good test to see if Sean would do anything with Ilya. And plus, like, we talked about it a little bit, like, before jumping weight classes, you really have to clear out your weight class. There can't be anybody that's a top contender that you're like, questioning, could this person dispute this champion? And Merab, there's an argument to be made that he's a threat against Sean O'Malley. At the same time, I think we all agree that if that fight happened, O'Malley catches him in the first 2 rounds and puts him out.
The version we saw of him against Henry Cejudo, I don't love it from Rob. I know he's opened up as the betting favorite, but I think for some reason people, I don't know what the hesitation on Sean is. What more does he need to show you? He dealt with the grappler in Petr Yan. He dealt with another grappler in Aljamain Sterling,
who trains with Merab.
He hammered the shit out of Marlon Vera. Like, what more are you asking him to do before he starts to get the champion's sort of respect?
Plus,
I
just don't like the immediate weight class jumping. And Dana White shot
I don't
it
either.
down.
No, I don't either.
Like,
yeah, he did.
Like, Conor McGregor, as great of a UFC character as he was, never defended a single belt. He never defended a belt. Like, you can't give him like super props about being an amazing champion. You can say he was an amazing fighter, he was an amazing character, he was he was a superstar, sure. Mm-hmm. But to say he's one of the greatest champions, it's like the dude never fucking defended. Like, no. He wouldn't even be on that list. And so, like, I don't know if Sean O'Malley wants to build a legacy or if he just wants to get as big as he possibly can to make hundreds of millions of dollars. And
I think
it doesn't matter. I think it is a little bit of both. I wonder which path he'll go down. Anyway.
I'm a Sean O'Malley fan.
Yeah.
As a fighter, anyway. I think
he can come on the pod if he wants to wait on the wait list.
We'd love it. I just think as a how do you train for that? What do you do? How do you find a guy that much taller than you that strikes like that? I don't know. You can find a 5'8" wrestler. They're everywhere. How do you train for what he does? I don't know.
Stand in front of a tennis ball shooter machine, one of those things, and just have somebody throw fucking tennis balls at you and dodge knives
or wrenches. Because if you can dodge that, you know.
Diego Sanchez's coach, the guy fucking chased his fighters around the octagon with a fucking knife. That lunatic. Anyway, should we cap UFC 299 in the books?
I love calling people a lunatic. You're a fucking crazy person.
I still like cheating on Mickey. That guy's cheating on Mickey. You know, fucking goofy.
Okay.
Should we make some picks and talk about the upcoming
I'm willing
fights?
to pretend you didn't say that if you are.
Hey, we talk about Disneyland and Star Wars.
Yeah,
on this
sure,
podcast.
You're right. We do.
And I think cheating on Mickey is a politer way than saying fucking goofy.
Okay.
So, man, it's a fight night. This is a fight night card.
This is a fight night card.
That's for sure. I will go right on ahead and say that I'm happy that there will be fights on this weekend, but there's not a single one that I'm like super, super excited for, except maybe to see what happens with Tai Tuivasa, being that he's coming off 2 losses. I'd like to see if he can get back on the winning path. I like Brian Battle. I think he's pretty cool. OSP is old. And there's another guy coming back. Mike Davis is coming back too. He hasn't fought in 2 years.
Okay.
But other than that, there's not really much I'm too excited about for this card. Anything for you guys?
I'm gonna go see Dune again.
Nope, nothing.
Are you gonna go to
Saturday.
The movies?
I'm gonna take,
what are you gonna watch this weekend?
We're gonna take The Immortal. He has not seen it. We had to we had to clear it with the mother-in-law if he could come out to the movies with us. Sunday.
What's St. Patty's Day? When is that? Is that Saturday? Oh, it's Sunday? Okay. Cool.
Yeah,
Do we even make picks on this? I don't even have any picks to make.
No.
I mean, I brought them up.
I'm going to be honest with you. No. And in fact, I was thinking about pitching this to you guys, and I just think there's no...
Yeah, it feels like acting compliance.
Like, why? Are we just making picks to make picks? I don't know. We have not done well with these lately, so I think maybe a week off is what we need.
Sure. If there is a pick, like Penny Kianzad and Macy Chazon is a rematch from Ultimate Fighter. Macy won the first fight after losing the first 2 rounds. I think she caught her with an elbow or something. And then submitted her. But I like Kennedy and Njoku.
Yeah.
I think he's fun. Massive favorite.
He is. I think the biggest on the card, right?
Yeah.
Looks like
minus
it.
500.
650. Oh, I've got him at 650.
No shit.
On ESPN, yeah.
Do you have any picks on Tai Tuivasa or Marcin Tybura, or are these just 2 massive motherfuckers going to hit each other?
I think Tai wins by finish.
So Marcin Tybura is not ranked.
I just realized I haven't even been sharing the right screen. Well, I'm silly.
I think Tai wins.
There it is.
Wins. It's going to be a KO. Like Tai
What were you gonna say?
Submit people. So
sorry about that.
I don't know how else that fight goes.
Tai's also heavier. Fair. Angelusa.
Marcin Tybura most recently lost to Tom Aspinall.
Tracks.
Mm-hmm.
He was knocked out in the first round.
And Tai lost to Sergey
Gone.
Pavlovich, and then before that he lost to Cyril Gane.
Very tough fight.
So much.
Mm-hmm.
Front kicks of death.
A lot. So much. It was so much of that. Uh-huh. Oh, and he lost to Alexander Volkov. Did you say that?
Oh yeah, he did.
At 293,
he
got subbed. Yeah.
That's right. He lost 3 in a fucking row. Jeez. That says a lot about heavyweights when you can lose 3 in a row and still be 9th.
I mean,
it's like you were saying though. Heavyweights lose.
What even is the division right now? I don't. There's a couple divisions. It's like, what are we doing? Can we just briefly look at the total card of 300? Is that possible? On the way out, as it were, we have 4 fight nights before then, which is fun, but also a lot. This card, top to bottom, is wild. It starts off with Davison Figueiredo.
Dude, I feel
Cody
bad
Garbrandt.
for Cody. I think Cody gets washed.
That's
here.
the very first fight on the early prelims. Okay. Probably. He probably does. Then it goes to Bobby Green and Jim Miller.
On the
then Jessica
early
Andrade
prelims.
and Marina Rodriguez.
Goddamn.
Then Jalen Turner and Renato Moicano. That's the early prelims. That's better than the 4 fight nights before it.
That's not
That's better
hyperbole
than the main card.
either.
Oh,
That's an accurate and fair statement.
Yeah. Then for some reason you have Sadiq Youssef.
Diego
and
Lopez is
Lopes.
exciting, and Sadiq
And then
Youssef also
inexplicably. No, go ahead. What were you going to say?
I believe it's Diego Lopez.
It's Lopes, right? That's not Lopez.
Mr. Lopes. Mr. Lopes.
No, I know.
I
I feel like
I mean,
these
you're
two
not wrong.
fights
To
should
have that
be
on the
both on the
regular
early
prelim
prelims.
card
These should be the two openers.
is weird. Like that should be the early prelim opener, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, but
Butts
I
and
think they want to
seats,
get
yeah.
people.
I'm so
I think they want
happy you
TVs
said that
on
phrase. I was like,
and,
that's where
like,
my head went.
butts and
Get butts
seats.
and seats.
When the card starts, I think that's what they want, and that's
Yep.
right.
Yep. This is going to be
Then-
the biggest gate in UFC history.
For some reason, the second
Olympic
prelim fight is Holly Holm and
American
Kayla
Olympic
Harrison.
hero Kayla Harrison is
fucking
on
crazy.
the prelims in her
Fucking wild.
debut.
Then
40-year-old, 41-year-old
Fighting
Holly Holm.
boxing Hall of Famer Holly Holm.
crazy.
Hypothetically.
Kayla's gonna get all the way down to what, 35?
Yep. Supposedly.
We'll see.
I think she
Okay.
will. I think she will. And I think she's
Also-
going to look really good.
Noted, it really did look like Marlon had a tough weight cut. He looked
did.
so skinny on the scale. They had to bring out the naked box, and then he looked much thicker in the cage. Anyway,
Mhm.
after that, you've got Calvin Kattar and Aljamain Sterling,
like that.
and
their
then
weight
Yuri
debuts.
Prohaska
Fucking
and Alexander
wild.
Rakic.
Like, that is gonna be
closing
On
out
the
the
prelims.
such an exciting fight.
How many
Mhm.
numbered
So-
cards has Yuri headlined? 3? It's at least
Yeah,
2.
that's 3.
Or both Glover fights and Alex Pereira?
Pereira.
Good
Let's
lord.
take a look. Yep. Glover. And Dominic Reyes.
Oh yeah,
was
so
not a
he beat
numbered
Glover,
card,
then had the
No,
shoulder injury,
okay.
right?
but it was still headline.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then, I mean, yes, that's correct.
there you
Okay.
go.
Then the main card starts, and at least on the UFC's website, although I feel like they broadcast
they had
it
Bo
differently
Nickel.
during
They did.
the fight. Bo Nickel and Cody Brundage.
Yeah.
Bo
Yeah,
is a
they
minus 13,
Which is
50
insane.
favorite
They-
here.
Like have
They
Bo
had
Nickel,
Oliveira,
have
Armin
Bo
Tsarukyan
Nickel
as
open
the
the
main
main
card
card.
opener
He
on
shouldn't
the
even
original
be on the main
broadcast.
card. Like honestly, that's not.
wild.
Yep.
Yes, he should.
Not with
Yes, he should.
that.
There's
Should be
two.
Yuri. That
There's
should be Yuri and
3
Ratchet.
former world UFC world champions fighting the 3 fights before
Listen.
him. and he still
I
should
am
be
a
opening the
converted
main
Bo
card.
Nickel advocate and fan,
He better show up.
but
He will.
But come on, Cody Brundage is probably
Yeah.
like,
I like it.
I'm on the main fucking card. I'm on the main fucking card of UFC 300. How is this possible? If Bo
Why are
Nickel
you
was
doing
fighting
this to me?
somebody else
Why are you doing this to me?
in the middleweight division, I would not question this at all. I would not question this at all.
I see what
I'm
you're
kind
saying.
of in.
It's his opponent.
I'm in the same
It's definitely
place
not
as you,
Bo.
That's
Ryan.
fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
So you're
Yeah,
not. It's not Bo. It's his opponent. That's the problem.
At least. Yeah.
Okay.
At least
I can get
somebody
there.
ranked.
I can
like,
get there.
Let's start putting him up against somebody who's
Let's
ranked.
ask this though, and we
0.
can talk about it a lot. How many
0.
ranked guys do you
There's
think are
nobody
lining
that's
up to
like,
fight Bo Nickel right
if you're a top
Yeah.
15 middleweight. Yeah, just
But
the
for
champ. If
pay-per-view
you're a
points?
top 15 middleweight and you're
now?
like,
No, they don't get pay-per-view points. Just the champ does.
we want to fight,
Ah,
we want to
shit.
put you up against Bo Nickel, and they're like, no, thanks, I'll pass.
No. Yeah, the answer is no.
I think
Okay,
Chris
and
Curtis
that's
would
it.
take that.
Yeah. So
That's
then
an awesome
maybe.
fight.
Then it goes to Oliveira Tsarukyan.
Awesome.
Then Justin Gaethje, Max Holloway.
I'm kind of surprised though that
Not excited for
Tsarukyan
that.
is
So
the favorite.
the last 3
I'm a
fights
little
are all
surprised by
The
5
it.
rounds.
BMFL is
Tsarukyan.
stupid. Yeah.
Mhm.
Zhang Weili and Yan Jinan, and then Alex Pereira and Jamal
think
Hill,
it's-
which
I think
I'm
it
going to
goes
predict
2
right now
rounds.
is going to
And
be
I think Alex just washes
disappointment of the
Jamal.
evening. If yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I think
not going to be
Jamal-
the slobber knocker people want it to be.
I don't think it will be a slobber knocker. Because, I mean, even Jamal Hill versus Johnny Walker wasn't. But Jamal has power. He has power. And I think that's the only reason this fight is so close in terms of odds. Is that if Alex lets himself get hit, which I don't think he will,
Yeah.
it could end very badly for him.
So Jamal's
Yeah,
best
it's
win is
Glover.
who? Glover Teixeira?
Mm,
Okay.
Yeah, in terms of caliber of
Yep.
opponent,
Well,
yeah.
Well,
and I mean, Thiago
He
Santos
did.
was washed already.
yeah.
He's losing
Jimmy
in the
Crute is
PFL, isn't he?
retired.
Walker was on the uprise. Jimmy Crute, pretty solid.
Who the fuck
Craig
is that?
broke his arm.
And who the fuck is
Mhm.
that?
OSP was already old.
Mm-hmm.
And then everybody else is a no-name. And then you look
Like-
at who Prajeda beat.
He is.
Come on.
Yeah, well, Blachowicz is. That's a
Finished
tough
Yuri.
fight.
Yeah.
Split decision Blachowicz.
Yes, it is for everyone.
Man, he knocked out Sean Strickland so fucking
mean,
hard.
So I think this might be the real sort of, hey, Alex Prajeda is here and he's a guy in the sport now, because I
He's a
still
fan
kind of feel like he
favorite,
doesn't get
though.
his
Like, he
due,
got a big
which is
pop in
crazy
Miami
because
when
he's
they
been
showed
the
him on the
champ in 2
crowd.
weight
He
classes,
got a
but-
big pop.
Is he?
And this
Okay.
guy doesn't even speak
Yeah,
fucking English,
alright.
or a
Huge.
very limited English.
Yeah, he did. I was
Not even close, by the way. Not even close.
Why is this fight here? This should
I
be
think Zhang Weili
headlining
and
a UFC
Yan
number card in China.
will be pretty good. 100%. It's kind of annoying that it isn't. In fact,
Yeah,
But, hey,
I mean you're
it
spot
certainly
on.
is nice.
Like
They
they're
needed
gonna
to
have
have
at least
championship
2.
fights on
Technically, there's
UFC
3 belts on the
300.
line.
I think they just did.
on that night. One just doesn't carry any pay-per-view points with it.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. I do think that you are, with the Dustin Poirier potentially fighting Islam, I think some of that does come from the fact that Gaethje
Yeah,
and
exactly,
Oliveira,
and,
the only other two people with a
Makachev said he
claim
wants
to
to fight
that,
in
and they're
June,
both fighting
so
on
he goes through
300.
Ramadan
So,
right now, and then he has time for a camp, which
Time.
means he fights in June, which would be 302. I assume
Yep.
that would be UFC 302, because 303 is International Fight Week. Yeah. So that's
Is it?
Poirier, or
think you're
who
right.
else?
Yes.
Topuria? Do they make that fight? But Charles is fighting in April. He's fighting on 300.
Charles.
I'm just throwing shit out here.
Not Ilya Topuria. He's going to go up. He gets the champ nod? I don't think so.
You're right, though. It's kind of interesting that they don't have 302 on here, which I assume will be in the first or second week of June,
I think they want
or the
a
last
big
weekend
name
in
on
May.
this card. I think they're holding out for John. That's what I think.
It's,
You know what?
end
I
of
think
May.
you're right. I think last week of May, or when's Memorial Day? So
Is he gonna be
Memorial
ready
Day
by that time?
weekend will probably be UFC 302, and it'll probably be John Jones.
It's like 2 months. All right.
I hope so. He's got
Yes.
2.5 months.
He will be. I can promise it. You heard it here first.
Yeah. Or they're gonna do Aspinall.
Yeah, I think
Or-
I
Blades.
think he should.
For International Fight
they
Week,
should
they
just
do the
say, hey,
165.
we're creating the
belt.
165. 70 goes to 75 exactly, and guess
70
what? We're
moves to
we're gonna
75.
have a 195 belt.
Be done with it.
I'll call it cruiserweight.
Ooh,
Ooh. I like that.
I like that.
What would
too.
that weight class be called?
That is
Superweight?
Yes.
Is it cruiser?
Mm-hmm.
What do you call
Mm,
165?
No, they
Don't know.
don't. It's not even close.
Because they don't match the
That's a good question.
boxing weight classes. Maybe you make 190. Maybe you make 195 light heavyweight,
Super
205
heavyweights,
heavyweight,
and then just step
and
everything down.
215 or over 205 super heavyweight. Yeah.
Mm,
Maybe something
Yeah,
like that.
we're available for
I'll
consulting.
come up with a name.
Anyway, UFC, let us know where
Nominal
we
fee.
are available.
We
You
are.
can hire us for consulting. Yeah. Yeah. Gents, I thoroughly enjoyed chatting with you this wonderful week on the Pretty Neat Podcast. I think that's a pretty good wrap. How do we take it out?
Pull it out.
Take it out. 2024.
Yeah, you know why I love MMA so much? It's pretty neat. That is 100% true, but it's also because it brings us together. You know what? Violence really does bring people